Hello everyone and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations, where we've dragged Luke at me back into court. This time for murder. Which I can't say surprises me a ton. Oh, I'm concerned for how this is gonna go. Anyway.
Now then, this court is back in session. Mr. Luke at me, please take the stand.
Well, how do you do, Sir Lawyer? I never would have thought to see you acting so recklessly. I couldn't let them hand down your verdict just yet. Not when I'd have given you your perfect alibi. An alibi by the name of Mask to Mask. I'm sorry, I'm afraid even the great Luke at me has no idea what you mean. Of course I've been in the courtroom ever since 10 o'clock this morning. I'm afraid there's no way I could know what's been going on in here.
Hey, you've been in the defendant's seat all day long, correct? Being tried as a mask to mask.
Indeed, it's truly child's play to fool the ignorant masses. Not only did the poor fools ask me to protect their valuables, they even gave me a generous reward upon returning their own property to them.
Oh.
That's what those amounts were. Okay. So then I'm guessing that they gave so Luke and the security company split the reward and then gave a percentage to Ron? It's gotta be it. Take this red diamond ring that sparkles upon my divine finger, for example. So you continue to insist that you are, in fact, Mask to Mask. Of course.
Very well then, Luke at me, let us begin with this simple question. On October 12th at 1 a.m., Kane Bullard was murdered. Where were you at that time?
One without knowledge lacks even the knowledge that he should be ashamed of himself. But don't worry, I will not hold it against you, Sir Judge.
Thanks. Alright, Mr. Atme, the night of the murder, speak. We're all ears.
As you wish, Sir Prosecutor. I was stealing the urn as Mask to Mask, just as I announced I would. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. A photograph contains no words, but in this case, one turned out to be my witness. That's a little too perfect, actually. At the time which the camera captured Mask to Mask was the same time as the murder.
It seems the main point of discussion will be this photo of the crime scene.
Everything else up until now is all part of his plan. There has to be a secret to this picture as well. Even the great Mask to Mask cannot be in two places at once. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I have a verdict to receive. Unfortunately, Mr. Atme, we still have to do your cross-examination. A fool is too foolish to know that he is a fool. It's a Von Karma thing to say. I think he's trying to say you're full of it, Nick. The only thing that's full of it is his alibi. Okay, you can get this. I was stealing the urn as... yeah. So this photograph is the proof, correct? Indeed it is. And the man in the photo is certainly wearing a mask. That is why I'm called Mask to Mask. But conveniently, that also means that there's no way to tell who this really is.
What do you mean? Ha! Are you saying that this is not in fact Luke at me?
I'm saying we don't know.
That could be an accomplice dressed up as Mask to Mask to create an alibi.
Oh, what an interesting idea. Are you saying that I, Lone Wolf Luke at me, had an accomplice? I don't know who is. I want to push this, but I don't know who his accomplice could be. I definitely don't have any proof. I don't think it's Adrian. And he's dead. So, I've nothing. Alright. Let's come back to this. If Luke at me was at KB Security during the murder, then the masked mask in this picture has to be a fake. Then there really was an accomplice. Right now, I have no idea who it was. I don't have any idea right now either. These objections are just what that guy wants. There's gotta be another way, and I'm going to find it. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job, alright. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? Indeed, there's no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. It was the perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. But I don't think it was a target.
I see, you truly are evil, aren't you?
Yes, evil is what I am. Hey Nick, isn't there something odd about this? Detective Atney was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona. You know, that's true. It is kind of odd. So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? Indeed it is. That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. When you think about it, it's really odd. You say that almost as if you had this picture taken on purpose.
He was simply caught by the very camera that he had set up.
Whoa.
We all have days like that.
Indeed, it turned out that there was no such thing as the perfect crime after all. No. No. Life truly is an ironic thing, a sad blue melody. Looks like I'd better gather more information for now. If he's truly the killer, there's gotta be something phony in that photo. Okay. About the camera that took this photograph. Oh, come now, it's all too clear what you're thinking. Huh? You think I altered the timestamp on the photograph, don't you? I honestly hadn't considered it until just now, but now I'm pretty sure that's where we're going with this.
I'm afraid that's impossible. The camera was set up by Lordly Taylor, and on top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed that picture's data. Unfortunately for the defense, there's no way that picture could have been altered.
I see. Looks like I'd better find something else that could be suspicious. So this alibi is false. It has to be, or he couldn't have killed Mr. Bullard at KB Security. But I'm not really spotting anything unusual. There are two possibilities. Either the mask in the photo is a fake, or the photo itself is. Alright. Stealing the urn is Master Mask just as I announced I would. Okay. I had more than enough time to prepare. It was a pathetically easy job. The photograph contains no words, but in this case turned out to be my witness. What else do we have? Publicity photo. No, that's not gonna help. Brooch, autopsy, newspaper clipping. Ron's testimony from Damask's second heist audio stealing. Broken and repaired by Adrian 2 weeks ago, then replaced in its box, kept out of sight. When Adrian dropped the urn's box 2 weeks ago, she also knocked over some paint. The wooden box that had the sacred urn on it has pink paint stains on it. Alright, so I'm trying. The urn was broken 2 weeks ago. So that was before the calling card came. But after Atme was hired. What's the date on the picture? Does it have, or does it just have the time? It doesn't have the date. Shoot. The time at which the camera captured Nesta Mess was the same time as the murder, or was it the same day? About the camera that took this photograph. It's not too clear what you're thinking, huh? I altered the timestamp on the photograph. Does it? Oh wait, hold on. I might be. It's impossible. Camera set up by Lordly Taylor. On top of that, it was Lordly Taylor's staff that printed the data. There's no way that picture could have been altered. The photo itself, I think it's the photo itself is a fake. What does this say? The warehouse camera went off once around 1 a.m. the night of the crime. In more than enough time to prepare, it was a pathetically easy job. I believe Adrian Andrews hired you at one point. That's right. That was over 20 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. You sent the calling card to Lordly Taylor 10 days before the heist. That would mean you sent out the card after you began your security watch, right? There's no reason why I couldn't do both jobs at once. I feel like I'm interpreting that sentence differently than it was intended, because I'm like, both jobs, eh? It was a perfect opportunity to steal my latest target. You surely are evil. Evil is what I am. Is there something odd about this? Detective Atme was always proud of his ace detective skills, right? But if the urn was stolen from Lordly Taylor while he was the only one watching it, he'd have no way to maintain his perfect ace detective persona. I feel like that's important. In this case, what did he say to this? So by photograph, you mean this piece of evidence here, is that correct? That is it. The very thing that proves I committed the crime. The very thing that proves you committed the crime. Is this new? Surely even you can understand by now. Lordly Taylor provided the camera. There's no way I could have tampered with it. That means I could not have killed Kane Bullard, unless I had an accomplice. Come on, think long and hard about that night. The basement warehouse, and this picture that supposedly captures it. It's gotta be here. Is there something funny about this picture? I noticed a couple things. So there's two things that jump out at me. One, that the Ami face statue is not in its spot. And two, there doesn't appear to be any paint on that box that he's stealing, but we know there was paint on the box. For the urn. Are you implying that this picture is a fake? You bet I am. There's definitely something strange about this picture. We took a look around the basement warehouse that night before the theft took place, and there's something in this photo that doesn't match my memory of that night. Oh, okay, so they're definitely going with the statue then.
Hey, well, let's hear what you have to say. What about this photograph do you find funny?
They're like right here? The funny part is right here.
Ew, boy, this is a blood stain.
Remember, that's what I originally thought.
Blood. Now this case is getting interesting.
Sorry, were you falling asleep before? Not exactly. The stain is actually pink paint.
Oh, just paint, and peach colored at that.
From blood to peaches, the judge sure loves going on his wild tangents. The problem with this photograph is not the paint. The problem is when you consider the layout of the basement warehouse. It turns out that something should be there is nowhere to be seen.
Well, Mr. Wright, what is supposed to be in this picture instead of the paint stains?
Right? Should be Ami face statue. The supervisor of the treasure exhibit stated the following. Well, there's a good reason for that. On the day of the crime around noon, that golden statue just happened to arrive from the mountain training hall. I realized that the statue would be perfect size for covering up the paint stains. That's why I put it where you first saw it. I myself was there that night the theft took place and saw the statue in that spot. If this picture was truly taken on that night, then the statue should have been there.
But when I went there the day after the theft, that statue of the old bag was sitting in the corner. Perhaps it was somehow pushed there accidentally.
Your Honor, this statue is slightly larger than yourself and quite heavy. It would take more than an accidental push to move it that distance.
Ha! In that case, can you prove it? Can you give us the rhyme and reason as to why that statue was moved that night?
Can you do it, Nick? Never mind who moved it. The real question is, why did they move it?
Oh, well, Mr. Wright, I hope you're prepared with your answer. Now then, who was the one that moved the golden statue the night of the crime?
Alright, that I know. The one who moved the statue is none other than Luke Atme. Come now, Sir Lawyer. There you go again on one of your strange delusions.
Mr. Wright, what basis do you have for your strange delusions?
It's very simple. The witness was the only one in the basement warehouse that night. That is indeed very simple. However, why would I want to move a heavy golden statue? The reason for moving the golden statue, here's where our battle really begins.
Well, Mr. Wright, what reason did the witness have to move that statue?
The reason can be found here in this photograph.
Oh!
Luke Atme, you pretended to be masked to mask, to create an alibi by showing you were at Lordly Taylor that night. But this photograph contains a single fatal flaw. If the statue had been there, your lie would be exposed like cheap film at a drugstore. That is why you had to move the statue.
The single fatal flaw? Interesting theory. Please enlighten us.
Just where in this picture does the lie exist? The time, right? Naturally, the lie in this photo is the timestamp.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you exactly what I mean. On the night in question, Luke Atme went to KB Security and murdered Kane Bullard. Therefore, it's obvious. It would have been impossible for him to have been at Lordly Taylor at this time.
But what does that have to do with the statue being moved?
Remember, if you will, Your Honor. When was this statue placed beside the warehouse door?
Well, the statue was taken down to the warehouse the day of the crime. I was right. And it was placed there to cover up the paint.
Exactly. Luke Atme had already decided on the time when he was going to kill the victim, and so in order to create an alibi for that time, he took this picture days before the murder took place.
What the?
Of course, the statue hadn't yet been brought down to the basement warehouse yet.
Ah!
So on the day of the crime, Mr. Atme must have been quite nervous. As nervous as a long-tailed cat in a rocking chair factory, so to speak. Why? Because something that wasn't supposed to be there had been brought down in place where it wasn't supposed to be. And that is why Luke Atme had to move the statue on the night of the murder. He did it to make the room match the way it had been in his photo. Ugh.
Order, Mr. Atme, is this true?
Ooh, one moment, Your Honor. Have you forgotten this?
Ew, what's that?
The data for the basement warehouse computer. According to this, the camera did indeed go off on the night of the crime. It's true that the camera had been set up by the Lordly Taylor staff. However, the program used to manage that data was yours. That alone would have allowed you to tamper with the data. There we go.
Order, Mr. Godot, what is the meaning of this? Godot, I warned you about making me wait. Now put that coffee down. My 11th cup. I've promised to drink no more than 17 during a trial, which means I'm still good till the last drop. However, the defense has a very good point. A good point, so what? We are all but travelers on a road of infinite points.
I think he's got his points mixed up with his other points.
So you say this photograph was taken ahead of time? And that the statue was moved in order to make it match? That's a very interesting idea. However, there's one point that can't be denied.
Which is?
That it's only a possibility. Men that are trapped by the chains of maybe can never reach their dreams.
That coffee did not look good.
That's very true.
No way, don't fall for that, Your Honor.
Hey, Mr. Damask.
Yes?
If there's no funny business in your actions as mask to mask, there should be no problem with you telling us your strategy. So let's hear it. Yes, please provide this court with your testimony about your plan to steal the sacred urn.
Ooh, there we go. I first received the request from Lordly Taylor about 20 days ago. The urn was placed in a box in Zavari. It was then sent to the warehouse. Hence, I was actually unable to see the urn for myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure that my crime would go smoothly. At last, I held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th.
That's pretty much all the stuff we heard before, isn't it?
Yeah, but we will find the truth hidden in the nuggets of new information he gave.
Witness, you're sure there are no mistakes this time?
Zavari.
Very well then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination.
Sacred urn heist. Okay. I feel like we know that. You're asked to guard the urn by Miss Adrian Andrews, is that right? Indeed. It seemed that they had heard of my Zvarkling reputation. I see Miss Andrews is still attracting the weirdos. You better watch out too, Maya. You mean this box? Yes, that pathetic box. Lady Andrews was especially taken with that urn. And she wouldn't let anyone enter the storeroom, not even me. Huh, interesting new tidbit. So you're sure that you had never seen the urn before? Indeed, you may ask Lady Andrews to confirm for yourself. My security is focused entirely on the entrance to that warehouse. However, I, Luke Atme, had no information whatsoever slip through my fingers. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure. You mean this calling card? That's right. That is without a doubt my calling card. I guess Mr. Delight didn't make this after all. Of course, because Atme knew about the emblem. Making this card authentic would have been child's play for him. Okay, I believe this part. Then no one entered the basement warehouse. Unfortunately, there were many different treasures being taken there. Thus, for a period of approximately 5 days, people were indeed going in and out of the warehouse. Held the urn in my hands for the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th. Feel like there's something very, very wrong with that. And this is the photo that proves that, huh? Indeed, to be honest, even if a photo was taken, I didn't think it would matter terribly much. Hey Nick, if this photo is a fake, Detective Atme might have stolen the urn whenever this was taken. That's true. You know, he's been saying that he never saw the urn until that night. If we can prove that he's lying there, we can wrap this up and put a bow on it. I need to take a good hard look at the court record. Oh, any other clues? Not a lot to go on, is there? The detective's been covering his tracks. There's only one thing we need to prove in this cross-examination. That he took this photo well before the actual night of the crime. Alright then, how do we do that? There's one thing that Atme stated very clearly. That he had never seen the urn before he stole it. We need to prove that he's lying. Okay, let's see. I mean, there's a picture of it right there. Security at Lordly Taylor, I will be coming to purloin the most priceless work of art on display. Take good care of the speckled... Is it that it's a speckled urn? The mask knocked Atme out during the crime with a blow to the back of the head. Oh! Is it the paint splotches? Because those weren't there. Am I thinking about this right? Urn was placed in a box in Zvari. I was sent to the warehouse. Unable to see the urn myself until the day of the crime. I knew it was an extremely valuable treasure, so I sent my card 10 days beforehand. I then handled security by myself to ensure the crime would go smoothly. Okay. Last I held the urn in my hands the first time at 1 a.m. on October 12th. I don't know if it's the third statement or this one, but I think I need to hit him with the calling card at one of those. It doesn't look like this is gonna hurt. We'll try it here. Mr. Atme, if you really are Master Mask, then you also wrote this calling card, correct? But of course. Is there a problem with that calling card? Allow me to read a passage from the calling card that Master Mask had written. Take good care of the speckled urn. Now the speckled here surely refers to this pink pattern on the sacred urn. Yes, that's true, but so what? Truth be told, there's no way that Master Mask could have known about this pattern. What do you mean? This pink spotted pattern on the urn is actually nothing more than paint stains. Paint stains? And these stains did not appear until after the urn had been taken to Lordly Taylor. I'm not finding this joke to be very, very funny, Mr. Wright. The day the sacred urn was taken to the warehouse, the urn was broken due to human error, or should I say an error-prone human. And that's when the pink paint got on the urn.
Ugh, you can't be serious.
And yet this calling card clearly mentions the paint pattern. Which means Detective Atme had seen this urn long before the crime ever took place. In fact, he saw it when this fake photo was taken.
Ugh.
And because this photo is a fake, your alibi for the night of the murder no longer holds water. Whoa, we got him on the run. This is probably blow up in our faces in 5 minutes, but for now, I'm going to enjoy this.
Witness, do you have anything to say for yourself?
All right, that did it. He's broken. Nick, I think it's still a little early for a victory pose. Huh?
Ah, it's so sad. No one has any conviction these days. Conviction, you say? Yesterday we were all decided unanimously that this man was masked to mask, and now we're calling him a murderer. You don't think we're being a tad fickle? That's a good point.
No, it isn't. No way. Don't fall for that too, Your Honor.
You say that Luke Atme was the one who killed Kane Bullard.
Then let me ask you this.
Why would he do that?
An excellent point. Motive, Mr. Wright, motive. Might you, my merry murderous motive manifest?
Nick, he's getting a second wind. If he prepared to nullify and pin this crime on Run to Light like you say, he must have had a very strong motive for murder.
The only one with any motive we've seen is Ron Delight.
Isn't that right, Detective?
Indeed, according to my own research, the boy's motive is clear.
Without motive, it is nearly impossible to prove guilt in a murder case. Now then, maybe you can enlighten us as to what the defendant's motives were.
I'd be honored to, Sir Old-Timer. They're doing everything they can to make Ron look suspicious. Despite our lack of hard information, this may be our only chance. Alright, we will hear the motive for murder in the next episode. I don't know how much more of this we have to go, but we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if this stretches out another day. I really wouldn't, because there's so much to go over. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.